Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. You got Bird over there and you're on with Big L. And this is a hot take, brand new news. AT&T, WarnerMedia, Discovery. Bert, what happened?
I don't even know. But you know what? Before we get into that, please, everyone, just let's quickly get through this. Smash the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. We appreciate all your support. We're getting a 10K. We tell you that every video, but man, we got to get
Let's get to it today. Let's go.
Let's get right to the news. Holy freaking cow, AT&T. Way to start your Monday off. My goodness, Landon.
Yeah, ever have a case of the Mondays? AT&T sure did.
Yeah, they were like, hey, let's just shake things up a little bit and then just throw the investment news. But I'm sure we're not the first people telling you, but we are here to give you our take on the major AT&T news that involves the newly combined entity that will be formed between WarnerMedia and Discovery.
Exactly. The news just came out today. There was a lot of rumors and rumbling over the weekend. Bert actually sent me over a few articles because he was already all over it. And he goes, this could be huge. I wonder when this is going to come. And little did we know it was going to come pretty much the start of this week, bright and early on Monday morning.
Yeah, they were not messing around here with this announcement.
Right. And as Bert said, AT&T just made the announcement. They're spinning off WarnerMedia, that whole segment, and spinning off with Discovery into a new company, which the name is going to be determined. It's going to be Discovering Warner or Warner's Discovery.
I always love these shell company names that they spin. Oh, we're going to form SpinCo or newly formed co. That will be named later.
Or investment bankers discover new money from WarnerMedia.
Yeah, Lamborghini Co. for the investment bankers.
Exactly. So, what we're going to cover here in this video for all the viewers, the news, the facts, what we think the dividend's going to be, what happened with the share price, and what the two dividend diplomats are planning on doing right now based on the news we have. So, Bert, a little bit of intro to the news. This is a $43 billion deal between AT&T, WarnerMedia, and Discovery, which you want to go over kind of what that $43 billion looks like?
Yep. They're not just getting a Brinks truck backed up with $43 billion of cash in there. They're going to receive $43 billion in total for the acquisition. So there's going to be some cash that's going to be there. They're going to get some debt securities issued from the new entity. And they're just going to get a benefit from the new WarnerMedia company retaining some of the debt that was on AT&T's balance sheet. So between cash, new debt securities, and removal of debt into the new entity, AT&T is going to net $43 billion from this transaction.
Yeah, so $43 billion, and they're not getting away from the new entity. They're going to be holding, debt securities on AT&T's balance sheet from the new entity.
Landon, do you want to tell us a little bit too? I mean, as an AT&T shareholder, are we just wiping our hands clean of this new entity? Do you want to tell us a little bit about what us shareholders are going to receive?
So if you haven't read it yet, AT&T shareholders will actually end up owning 71% of newly formed entity. So definitely keep that in mind. This is not just, they're spinning it off and we're going to get like a one-time dividend or, a special dividend or something like that. No, us shareholders, because I know I have to do it. There's probably millions and millions of AT&T investors out there. So as of right now, we will own 71% of this new company and Discovery to own the remaining 29%.
Yeah, this reminds me an awful lot of what they did with DirecTV, where they have a newly formed entity that's going to be coming, but you're still going to get a stake in this too. So it's nice to see that we started the year owning AT&T. We're going to have a little bit of a new company in the next year of the new DirecTV entity, and we're going to have a huge majority of the shares of this newly formed WarnerMedia and Discovery entity.
Exactly. And, this is all going to be, it's got to go through the DOJ. It's got to get approved. And then also on top of that, it's set to close not today. It's not closing tomorrow or the next quarter. They're estimating the close date's going to be somewhere around what, Bert? Did I hear mid-2022?
Yeah, I think that's about right. That's what I was reading up before we did this video. So not a long turnaround for this large of a company because there's still a lot of details that need to be hammered out here.
Right. I couldn't agree more. And I mean, I know that AT&T, as we already saw with the DirecTV, with the private equity firm and washing their hands up more and more of this. Bert and I, we started to talk about, I wonder if this was already the long-term plan to kind of spin off the media, with the HBO Max. But then I think the pandemic, Bert, kind of sped up maybe the decision process here. You want to talk a little bit about that? Maybe?
No, I agree more. And I think it's a very fair point. I mean, when you launch HBO Max, you're going to have something of value there, especially with the content that they acquired from Time Warner just 3 years ago for $85 billion. They knew they were onto something. They had a massive catalog library of content. But I mean, think about when they launched it. They launched it towards the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020, and then everything just ballooned. They are now over 65 million global subscribers for HBO Max, and that number was growing exponentially towards the end of 2020 and 2021, as we discussed in previous videos, based on some of the moves they made with those movies. So yeah, I agree. This probably happened so much faster because of how successful HBO Max was out of the gate.
Right. And trying to catch it maybe at the peak, before all the restrictions are lifted and maybe things go back to maybe off that streamed content potentially, even though I know it's here to stay, but maybe trying to capitalize on a higher valuation point of like, okay, this is worth a lot right now.
Mm-hmm. It's what they should have probably done with DirecTV, but they waited too long, and maybe they learned from that experience.
Yeah. And obviously you got to respect the new management, trying to clean up house and just reshape the organization.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's not hard to admit defeat on one acquisition with DirecTV, but two acquisitions now with Time Warner. But we knew they were working to clean up the balance sheet, start paying down the debt, and they're just being aggressive. And it's kind of nice to see a management team just grabbing the bull by the horns and saying, we're going to fix this.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So, Bert, you want to go over some of just the hard facts?
Yep.
Of kind of what this is.
Yeah. So in terms of the new entity of how we're going to kind of see this split out, because remember, going into this, AT&T had three major pillars here of what we were looking to see. They were the media giant with all their networks. They were the wireless giant that was pursuing 5G relentlessly to be a market leader, and they were growing their internet. So now the new AT&T, the slimmed down AT&T, is going to be a leader in 5G. They're going to be a leader in internet. So that's going to be the one entity. And now you're going to have this Discovery and WarnerMedia. That's going to have one heck of a channel portfolio.
Yeah. What are some of these channels, Bert?
Yeah. So from HBO Max, they're going to have a lot of the scripted, the great pieces. They're going to have CNN, HBO, obviously. WarnerMedia, we know all about those movies that are getting released. You have fantastic movies coming through. You have Cartoon Network, Cinemax, TNT, TBS, Adult Swim, the DC universe. That's coming from the HBO AT&T side. Now you're coupling that though with Discovery's very, very interesting portfolio that's more reality TV based on the Discovery Channel. Food Network, you get all those cooking shows that everybody loves. HGTV. How many people sit at home at night and just roll HGTV to see all those new houses that are getting flipped? Exactly, of TLC. I mean, the list goes on. So they're taking a lot of these large content pieces that AT&T owned and now marrying it with the kind of cable network TV field that Discovery always had. It's going to be an interesting piece, especially competing against Netflix and Disney.
Right. And I know, we wanted to let people know that they already spent a combined $20 billion on content between WarnerMedia and Discovery, and that's already more than Netflix as well as Disney Plus. So they're already spending a ton on content. So the combined entity is just going to be the synergistic company. I know that they stated in there that Discovery CEO is going to run the new company. So we know that. We kind of know that subscribers are going to be in the realm of, call it 80 million, right, Bert?
Yeah, it's huge. They have HBO has 64, I said, and Discovery has about 15 million. That's a huge network.
Not a bad base. That's a nice monthly recurring revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Bert, here's the big thing. This will segue into the next segment here. The fact of what they stated about the desired payout ratio and what they think their cash flow will be.
Yeah, that's a huge little nugget in here, especially for us AT&T investors, because let's be real, when you're investing in AT&T, you're thinking about the dividend. That's why we always talk about them. We want to know what's going to happen to our dividend income, especially since it's been such a high yielding dividend company for a long time. What they said in there was an interesting payout ratio plan. Their new payout ratio plan was they're going to target between 40% and 43% of the company's free cash flow. Is it going to be $5 this year after they spin this off? No, the free cash flow is going to be estimated at $20 billion. So that should give you a dividend of right around $8 billion, Lanny.
So, I mean, again, it's a lot of free cash flow, which is great. But I wanted people to know, if you read their last quarter and looked at their cash flow statement, they were paying about $3.7 billion in the form of a dividend. Annualize that mother effer out, and you're at, or call it 15 billion, maybe less, depending on what happens if they repurchase shares. So you would normally just go, the shareholders outstanding, I don't believe, are changing. The number of shares aren't changing. So if they were spending 14 to 15 billion currently on a dividend, now here's the dividend take from the diplomats. So that was the fact that they want to get in that 40 to 43% range at a $20 billion free cash flow expectation.
I'm just laughing because I think we may be only the two people that read the cash flow statements in their last Q and 10K. That's why I'm laughing here. But Lanny, please deliver the take. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
They have, on a conservative end, maybe 8 billion spent on a dividend. You do the math. That's about 53% of what they're currently paying out in a cash flow standpoint. Times that 53% times 52 per share, you got about 27.5 cents. And my range, and you could read the tweets, you can read other comments, my text messages. I'm expecting somewhere, and yes, a dividend cut, not a cut, but essentially a dividend reduction, because you don't have the cash flow and the revenue because you're shutting it off. So I'm expecting 26 to 30 cents per share per quarter.
You heard that here, and I think it's a very astute way for you to calculate that, Lanny. I couldn't agree more with that. But I think it's also important to not emphasize that it's going to be a sole dividend cut down to that level. Remember, they are spinning off a huge chunk of their revenue, a huge chunk of their earnings, and a huge chunk of their cash flow into this new entity. So we expect AT&T to be between 40 to 43%, but we have no clue what this new company's dividend may be. There could still be some in there. Look what happened with Pfizer. They said they were going to slash their dividend. You just don't know what is going to happen.
The AT&T will have to deliver shots of 5G in everyone's arm like Pfizer had to.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, and what was interesting is, as the news was released, AT&T's share price skyrocketed almost to $34. But then there was this drastic sell-off, I think, in stock, which pushed their price back down, and actually was down for the day by 2.7% to $31.37. So if you actually think about this quarterly dividend expectation, call it 27, call it 28 cents, you might be looking at a company at this price of around 3.25, 3.5% dividend yield on this company.
Wow, there it is right there. Again, I think that's a great way to calculate it. And when I'm thinking about this new entity, I'm also very curious. I want to learn more. We don't know enough about this new entity and what their potential dividend strategy is. Look who they're competing against, though. It's a very capital intensive sector that they are about to compete against. Netflix, what dividend do they pay, Lanny?
What dividend does Disney pay currently?
Exactly. So they're going up against people that are pouring all of their cash flow, all their earnings back into the business. So I don't think you can rely on this new company to pay a 3.3% dividend to kind of get you to where you are today, or whatever the exact amount is. You're going to have to assume that the dividend yield on this new company is going to be lower. So probably the overall dividend you're getting next year at this time, or 2022 after this company is done, is going to be lower than the current levels today.
Exactly. And I mean, here's the thing. Nobody knows yet. Nobody knows what Discovery's dividend plans are. And if there is, please share it in the comments. You're really going to find out more and more as they start to unfold kind of what the official documents look like once legal and the investment bankers plus both sides of the management team get through it.
Don't forget the accountants. I'm kidding.
Hey, they're there just to support the numbers. But yeah, as two CPAs are making this video here, again, Bert, let's slide into, the share price. I mean, does it hang at 31.5, or does it continue to slide? Is there enough information baked into that stock price?
I don't know. I don't know how you could say that there is enough information into that share price. Judging what you had, you can kind of tell that there were two different article dumps and two information dumps about the acquisition. The news was initially positive. Then more news started coming out about the dividend, what's coming up, and that's when the stock price started to slide here in the afternoon. I'm sure tonight we'll learn more. Tomorrow we'll learn more. Every day we're going to learn more, and eventually it's going to settle in at some point once the final details are out there. I don't even know what to say.
Right. So, again, a lot of unknown information right now, and I think that should be a good segue into what are the Dividend Diplomats planning on doing. Bert, did you want to take the first cut?
Yeah, right now, I think there's still, I hate to use this as a cop-out answer. I don't think there's enough information yet for me to figure out what I'm doing with my stake. I obviously want to learn more about the new company, what the expectations are, guidance, and everything, because to me, that's going to be a huge driver. You have your AT&T position that you're going to have is now going to be much more comparable to Verizon. So the minute we learn more, I think it's going to be very fair to start comparing the new AT&T projections to Verizon to see which is the better company in that sector to buy at that time. And maybe that's when I'll make the decision about where I'm going with my money in the communications sector.
It's funny because Verizon also slid today as well, in the market. And, I know that subscription growth is going to continue to grow for this new entity. And I'm sure shareholders are going to demand from AT&T side, plus, the teams probably involved are going to probably demand some sort of dividend from Discovery. May it be like 1%, something like that, something small. I'm currently going to just hold on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about the dividend plans going forward. I have enough to anticipate AT&T side, but I don't have enough to anticipate Discovery side, which we can't wait. Hot take, another video coming your way more than likely.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out because to us, it's all about building your dividend income and your passive income. And with us owning a large stake in AT&T and so many of you out there owning AT&T, we're going to keep you updated as we learn more and we have substantial new information to guide our investment decisions.
I bring up Verizon because it's, I'm on the fence of, do I reduce a position to kind of add more to a Verizon position, because again, trying to make sure the income goes forward, not backwards here.
Well, the income's definitely going to be going backwards, but we don't know enough to know how far back you're going and how we can recalibrate. To your point, Lanny, all we can do, ignore this AT&T noise for now, continue finding those undervalued dividend stocks, continue building your dividend income going forward. That's all you can do today, whether it's AT&T, Verizon, or companies that are on our watch list or other sectors.
Lastly, I'll say again, from a management perspective and a reshaping of the company, can't hate it. You understand they're trying to clean up shop, trying to be more focused on one or two sides of business versus internet telecommunications and media. Management is probably doing what the board's asking of them, and they're doing it in a big, hard to bite the bullet way. What I need to ask, what are you guys doing with your position in AT&T? Are you buying the stock after the WarnerMedia Discovery news? Are you holding? Are you dumping, holding, or buying?
Yeah, and please, as more information gets released, please leave it in the comment section below as we learn more. News is going to continue coming out after this video is launched, so keep your comments coming and keep sharing it with everybody who's watching this video, because every piece of information is going to help us guide our investment decision.
So guys, that was the AT&T WarnerMedia Discovery big news. You got Bert the Hurt and Lanny from the Dividend Diplomats. Over and out.